I'm here.
All right, good evening, everybody. Tonight is Monday, December the 18th, and finally some interest in the weather. And it sounds like it's going to maybe be some snow and definitely some cold. Tom, we've got some good questions. I want to hit those off the top. Are you ready? You ready to be grilled?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's see. So, first question is like, what does it all look like for wind? And do you expect? What are you expecting for the snow ratio? Is it going to be powdery, heavy? What you calling that?
Yeah. Okay. Well, first off, I don't see this being a blizzard. Okay, I just don't see this storm wrapping up like you would expect in a blizzard type scenario. However, one thing I do see happening is the storm's going to kind of stretch out a little bit longer than what everybody's thinking. I wouldn't be surprised if the snow extends well into Friday, light snow into Saturday. What's happening, Bill, is that this storm system it's a massive storm system that's going to be pinwheeling just west, or at least in the upper levels. It'll be pinwheeling just west of Minnesota and Wisconsin, which means we're going to continually get little spokes of energy coming in our direction. At least that's the way it appears right now, with, of course, the main piece of energy on Thursday and Friday. But no, I'm not expecting a massive windstorm out of this, especially as you're in eastern Minnesota and Wisconsin. Western Minnesota, a little bit more wind.
What about snow ratios?
Snow ratios, depending on where you're located. If you're in central and northern Minnesota, the snow ratios will be in that 15-to-1 to 20-to-1 range, which is more of a drier, fluffier snow. As you get more down towards I-90 and extreme southern Minnesota, we'll be looking at ratios in that 10-to-1, 12-to-1 ratio, which is a fairly wet snow. And then as we go through time into Saturday, late Friday and Saturday, it'll be dry snow for everyone because it's going to get cold.
All right, let's go through some more questions. Are you concerned about cold air cutting off the snow or pushing it south into Iowa? Like this writer, AB, says that the highs for Wednesday, Thursday have been trending colder. So is that a concern?
Yeah, always a concern. Often we worry that cold air and an Arctic high pressure will suppress a storm system further south than expected. But on this one, I'm not too concerned about that. And you know what, Bill, as long as we're answering questions, a computer model, right?
Sure.
And when we talk about the storm system suppressing further south, here's the reason why I'm not too worried about that, Bill. This is the jet stream from the GFS computer model. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is the Euro model. So this is the European computer model. This, of course, is one of my favorites, Bill. And this is the jet stream at 300 millibars, all right, which is about 25 to 30,000 feet in the atmosphere, where jets like to put it on cruise control. These are the steering winds, Bill.
Is that like the time when the baby behind you on the seat starts going nuts on the airplane, or is that – no, that's more the takeoff. Okay.
Yeah, that's right, at takeoff, Bill. That's when the baby is sleeping as you are in cruise control. Well, at least you're hoping, right?
Okay, yeah.
But anyway, so here's the jet stream. And now if this jet streak right here, this orange area, which are strong winds, if this were suppressed further south in Arkansas and the deep south and then stretching in the mid-Atlantic, yes, then I would be concerned that the storm system would actually track further south. But look how the jet streak is tracking into eastern Iowa. That tells me that that's where the storm system is going to track. It's probably somewhere in the Des Moines, Quad Cities area on up towards Milwaukee and Chicago. So that's actually a perfect storm track for snow in southern Minnesota. So I'm not too worried about snow being suppressed.
One of our favorites, Big Daddy, says asks, will the core metro get screwed with snow? He's concerned that if there's going to be 2 rounds, the first one will go to the north of the core, the second one is going to go to the south of the core. What do you think about that?
Well, Big Daddy's been looking at computer models and way too much. In fact, he's probably been looking at it more than most meteorologists.
Hey, I never met Big Daddy, but I'm assuming he's a big guy. So be careful what you say about him.
You're right, but no, he's hit it on the nose. Computer models have been very consistent with showing 2 bands of snow. By the way, here's the European computer model again. Here's one band of snow that's going to come through the northern North Dakota, and that's been very consistent, so they can expect snow from Grand Forks on west. That'll be on Wednesday. And then here's our bullseye for snow. And Bill, look at how the European computer model puts the axis of heavy snow right across the Twin Cities Metro on east and north towards Wausau, Wisconsin. So yeah, Big Daddy was saying that some of the models, especially the GFS model, the American model, was shoving the second band of snow further south. I'm not as concerned about that, especially when you look at the jet streak, Bill. And let's look at that one more time. This is why the upper level winds are so important and the jet stream is so important, because remember, storms like to develop, Bill, on the nose and on the left front quad of a jet streak, and that's right here. And let me kind of get this drawing for you here. Right here is where storms like to develop, and that's where we get what's often called a trawl or a deformation axis that develops in here. That's where you get that pinwheeling storm, Bill, and that's where it would develop the way it appears on Thursday. Again, this is Thursday night. So southern Minnesota, northwest Iowa, western Wisconsin, they're under the gun for that trawl or that wraparound snow around a 700 millibar low, and that would keep the snow band, the heavy snow band, near or just south, I think, of the Twin Cities.
Okay. Let's go to another question here. Edward writes that the National Weather Service in their point forecast, by the way, I think the point forecast is pretty stupid to me. I don't get why they put that product out, but he says the point forecast for Eden Prairie has a mention of freezing rain, and he thought it was going to be an all snow event. Temperatures seem cold enough, and the track is favorable. My thinking on that question is that it's the stupid point forecast going nuts, and that there's not a concern about freezing rain. What do you say?
Yeah, well, he has to be a little bit more specific. What time period were they mentioning freezing rain? Because if they were mentioning it for Wednesday, especially later in the day Wednesday, yeah, I mean, I could kind of see that happening, because here are the 850 millibar temperatures, Bill, from the European computer model. Now, this dotted line here is where you would expect the rain snow line. So the European model, not very robust, at least for a freezing rain event or a sleet event. The European model would keep this mostly all snow. But let's go back to the GFS computer model, and now you're going to be able to see often what we are up against when it comes to predicting storms, because you have all these different models to look at. Now, here's that same time period. Here's late Wednesday. Look how close the 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degree Fahrenheit line comes into southern Minnesota on the GFS model. It comes very close, if not into the southern Twin City suburbs. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the National Weather Service point forecast showed a bit of a mix, especially Wednesday night. But then that would also mean that their point forecast is really basing upon the GFS computer model guidance, which, as you know, Bill, I'm not the biggest fan of the GFS.
Yeah, actually, that dovetails us to the last question, which I think is a really good one. Jaw asks, does the poor performance of the GFS last winter factor into how you use it this winter? Or are there too many variables that change year to year to actually hold a grudge?
Yes, I do hold grudges. That is for sure. I have a grudge against the GFS computer model, which they often call the good for nothing computer model. I think it's that bad, right? Yeah. The NAM computer model, which is another American short-term model, I've got grudges against that. I really don't like the Canadian computer model, and I even have a few grudges against the European computer models. So, Bill, what it's really coming down to is I've got grudges against all computer models, because they seem to always lead us astray at times. But you know what? If we didn't have them, I don't think we would be anywhere near where we are with at least the success that we have with forecasts, especially when it comes to highs and lows and when Arctic outbreaks are going to occur, and sunshine, all that good stuff. Those are actually the easy things to predict, and that models do a very good job of predicting. What's always extremely tough, no matter what model you're looking at, is exactly where precipitation is going to fall. That is challenging even for the most recent short-term computer models. It's even difficult when you're just looking 2 to 3 hours in advance. So how can we expect these computer models to perform great with precipitation location when you're looking 3, 5, 10 days in advance?
Makes sense.
Yes.
So, Tom, now you have the floor. Talk about whatever you want with what you see with the snow and, of course, the cold.
Yeah, okay. Well, so I'm just going to show you what I showed my clients today, and I think this is very important. Again, it's how difficult it is to predict exactly where precipitation is going to occur, especially when you're looking at different computer model guidances. Here's the GFS computer model. Okay, this is from, what is this? From 1 o'clock this afternoon is when it came down. So the 18 Zulu run. And we've been looking at this dry slot for several days now, not only on the GFS, but on almost all of the computer models. And this is a concern to me. It is still a red flag to me. This is why I wouldn't be shocked if the Twin Cities had a bit of a bust with this storm system, because look how close the no snow area comes to the Twin Cities. We're talking just 100 miles west of the Twin Cities, basically no snow, if you believe the GFS computer model. Okay. But then look, just about 100, 150 miles further to the south and east of the dry area, you've got this 10 to 12 inches of snow. So as usual, Bill, tight snow gradient. And I don't care what computer model guidance you're looking at, that usually is the case with winter storms. You get a tight gradient. And where is that gradient going to set up? Well, the GFS thinks it's going to set up very near the Twin Cities. But then again, as we look at the European computer model, and we're going to zoom in here to the north central portion of the United States, and we will put the snow totals on by Saturday morning, Bill. Here's the European computer model, and this is kind of where I'm leaning towards now. It is predicting the axis of heavy snow, and let's just put it on here, basically from Hennepin County, east and north to near Wausau, Wisconsin, okay? So that's where...
New tool that you're using, Tom.
Oh, I love it. This is one of my favorite sites here that we're using, and it does a great job with depicting what's going to happen, and it lets you draw on the map. So that certainly makes it really nice for when you're presenting. But anyway, so the European model's got the axis going from the Twin City suburbs on east and north to near Wausau, and that's where I'm leaning right now. But look at the widespread area of snow, Bill. We're talking North Dakota, South Dakota, even into northern Iowa, all expecting snow, with the bullseye over eastern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin. That's a large storm system. It may not be your blockbuster foot to foot and a half snow, but certainly enough for everybody to shovel. And let's make no bones about it, Bill. Whatever snow falls.
Before you go ahead, Tom. So like with that model, it's showing what, like 6-7 inches of snow?
Yep, 6 to 8 inches of snow in the Twin Cities.
Okay.
And then even more, of course, as you head into Wisconsin. Okay, so that's certainly more than enough to create a white Christmas, right? And one thing, and I know people probably don't want to see this. They want to see, of course, the snow, Bill. I get a lot of people that love snow and are wishing for snow. What they don't want to see is the Arctic air. And let me show you a little something here, Bill. This is 850 millibar temperatures. These are the lowest layers of our atmosphere, okay? And you can see, this is Thursday evening, you can see cold air starting to pour into the backside of the storm system, into the Dakotas and northern Minnesota. Well, watch what this cold air does over time this weekend. You see that stuff up there in southern Canada? That is some bitter cold Arctic air. We're talking temperatures that we haven't seen in a long time. We're talking surface air temperatures in southern Canada and Manitoba and Saskatchewan in the minus 30 to minus 40 degree Fahrenheit range for low temperatures. And the highs probably won't even be making it above 20 below zero as you get into North Dakota and southern Manitoba. Okay, this is bitter cold Arctic air, the kind of air that we haven't seen in a long time here in Minnesota, especially southern Minnesota. And look at how that Arctic air just sinks south, so that even in people in Kansas and Missouri and Illinois, they're going to be talking about temperatures below zero for surface air temperatures as we go into the Christmas holiday weekend. Just an unbelievably cold air mass. Again, an air mass that we probably haven't seen for about 5 to 10 years.
Tom, I think I saw, not to steal your thunder, but I think I saw a tweet that you had where you're predicting 8 below zero for a high temperature on Christmas.
And that would be conservative or optimistic, I should say, because, and that was at the MSP International Airport, Bill. It just seems kind of amazing that we can go from this warm stretch of weather that we've been having, with temperatures in the 30s today and maybe even touching 40 or into the 40s tomorrow. So that's a good 10 to 20 degrees above average, to where we're going to be talking about high temperatures on Sunday and Monday, a good 30 to 35 degrees below normal.
I saw that.
Yeah, Bill, we're going to be talking about a temperature swing. So if it reaches 45 SP International and it gets down to, let's say, 20 below, which is certainly possible come Christmas morning, you're talking about a 60 to 70 degree temperature swing in just a few days.
Wow.
Yeah. And you're not out of the woods either, Bill. You and your friends in New Mexico, that cold air is sinking down in that area too. So pretty much everybody in the United States is going to get in on the action. It is just really going to be a wintry scenario for all of the United States, or at least most of the United States, as we head into Christmas. And again, for the snow lovers, this is great news, because not only do we expect snow maybe even as early as Wednesday, but certainly Thursday and into Friday, but we could be getting these little bouts of snow as we head into Sunday, maybe even Monday. Even though it's going to be so cold, it still may snow a little bit, but it's going to be that real light, fluffy snow that you can basically brush off with a broom as we get into Sunday and Monday. I think in the Rocky Mountains, skiers, they call it champagne powder. Yep. And that's the kind of stuff that would be coming our way this weekend and into early next week.
I'm speechless, Tom.
Yeah, a lot to talk about. Hey, I know I can't tell you how many people have said, hey, when is the video coming out? So I'm glad people are going to be seeing this one tonight. But we should probably do one more, because we haven't had a real good video, Bill, right as that storm is hitting. So maybe as we get into Thursday morning or afternoon, maybe we can schedule one more. How does that sound?
Sure, sure. You know, I mean, they pay me really well to do these videos. So.
I know they do. Someday, Bill, someday both you and I will make some money off of this. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Let's cross our fingers. We don't need the money, Bill. You know, this is fun just doing this with you the way we are right now.
It is.
Money may taint it, right?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Okay, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.